What's going on, Buff Nation? Welcome back to another video. Sorry for the delay. Had a little bit of a hurricane hiccup here. Lost our power yesterday. We're back, rock and rolling. Of course, this show is brought to you by BetUS. We've got the Buffs landed in UCF a day early to avoid the hurricane madness. Seems like they did. Then we're going to break down by the numbers. Some very interesting data points that we're going to go over that at first may be a little like, whoa, headed into a big one. And then on top of all of that, a massive recruiting weekend is happening in Central Florida. And we got to talk all about why this is, how this is going to be absolutely huge for the Buffs if things go the right way. But before we do any of that, you know what we got to do? We got to roll the intro. A lot of the comments love the intro. They ask, hey, where's the song and who sings it? I'm not telling, okay? Gatekeeping that. It's top secret. If you heard it all the time, you wouldn't appreciate it when you tune into the show. So I'm not telling you. I'm also not telling you because I have no clue where I got it from. Like we said, though, the Buffs got there early. They got there on Wednesday to avoid any type of hiccup. Coach Prime talked with us on the presser on Tuesday, so it was no surprise. It's a phenomenal game plan. Last year, there was an issue where the Gators had to travel to Utah. There was a hiccup in their travel plans. They had to stop a day. When you're a creature of habit, traveling is always going to already be kind of just a little bit of a factor. You want to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. When you have something like a hurricane that destroyed the left side of Florida, unfortunately, prayers for all those families and homes, and hopefully they're able to rebuild and get back rock and rolling. But UCF seemed to be unbothered. Rock and roll. The hurricane is far gone. No need to worry about rain or anything of any after effect with that. So they are there and ready to go. But what we do need to talk about is the massive recruiting haul that UCF is bringing in this weekend. There's been a little back and forth of UCF is bringing in a ton of 5 stars like Dallas Wilson, Oregon commit, Joshua Moore, 4-star, Florida commit, Jesse Harold, LSU commit, Max Buchanan, Brandon Brown, Dallas Wilson, I said Devin Jackson, 2026, Javion Hilson, I think Waltez Walker, a running back. There is so many top-tier talents that are going to be here. The same thing happened with this Florida and Miami game earlier this year. There was a ton of talent. Why? It was the hottest game that weekend. Now, Alabama, Georgia this weekend, which is just an equally as hot as a ticket, but there's something exciting about this. You got a Colorado team that is electric with Coach Prime. A lot of people want to see what this is all about, and all these Florida kids that are intrigued by Colorado may not want to go necessarily to Colorado, but now it's at home. It's in their backyard. And so this place is going to be packed out. And my point of why I'm saying this is huge for Colorado is you're basically getting a free opportunity to advertise what you want to put on the field. Okay. Miami did this when they marched into Florida, had a ton of recruits, and Miami, after the fact, were chopping at the recruits saying, you come to play for Miami so you guys can be like this. Huge opportunity for the Buffs here to march into enemy territory and take advantage of a huge recruiting weekend that UCF is hosting. But let's be real. Everybody wants to go and see this game. That's why these recruits do this. The coaches know that it's part of the game, but if you have an opportunity to show out, this is when it's going to be right now, Saturday night. So it should be exciting to see how that obviously unfolds. We're going to get into the numbers here in just a few moments. But again, massive recruiting weekend, a huge opportunity. And what's also cool to note is that there's a lot of Florida boys on this team. Typically, you could argue that, hey, traveling across country, going back east, the humidity, playing in Florida, it's going to be tough for a team like Colorado. This team is damn near bred full of Floridians and looking to add more of them. So this is in a way like a secondary home game for the Buffs in some sort of fashion. So it will be seen. Look, I think this Buff Nation travels very well. There's a lot of hype and popularity behind this team. So it's going to be cool to see how it looks in Orlando, given the fact that obviously Coach Prime has a lot of say in Florida by himself. And like I told you, been telling you all week, the line is still plus 14 for Colorado. Somebody asked me, how does that work? Well, in the betting world, it's non-realistic. You essentially get to show up to the game 14 points ahead of UCF when you're betting. That's how it works. And when you go to betus.com and use the code YouTube150, you get back 150% on your first 2 deposits and $125 on your third, up to $2,000. So be sure to go check that out at betus.com. Now, let's get into the numbers. It's going to be a little bit of a shock when I open it up, so don't freak out, okay? We're going to chew it up, okay? Digest it and discuss what's happening here. Defensive rank pretty close overall, 79-43, but the edge goes to UCF. Again, you got to take into consideration who they played thus far. UCF played the likes of TCU. That game was an absolute dogfight. It was like 35-34, I believe. So, I think they had a bye this past week. Only have 3 games under their belts thus far. Maybe they have 4. I may have forgotten. Offensively, you've got Colorado that ranks 64th and UCF that ranks 3rd A lot of that comes from the fact of their running back, which is they ranked first in the country on the ground, which we've been talking about all week. I've been stating that they run the ball very efficiently. Very, very efficiently. Rushing offense for Colorado, obviously 129. That's no surprise. It was the same thing last week. I don't think any Bucs fans are going, when they see that number. And the fact that it looked like it did last week and 2 weeks ago, that's promising because where all the bread and butter is, we can see, and there's a massive flip here. You can almost wash these twos out given the fact that the passing offense for UCF and KJ Jefferson is 95th, where Colorado ranks 5th. So which greater good is going to surpass the other one? I got some more data that's not on this paper that's going to make you scratch your head and go, right? Because if you take these two, rushing offense and passing offense, they almost eliminate each other. So which one's going to prevail is my question. But we'll get into that. Rushing defense, 82nd, going up against number 1. Against the rush defense is 6 for UCF, but again, it doesn't really, Colorado doesn't run the ball. So that one you can kind of throw to the wayside, that green bar there. I got double greens there, I messed up. Passing defense, 72nd for Colorado, 94th for UCF. Remind you, Colorado just got done playing the number 1 ranked passing defense in Baylor. Numbers are a little bit skewed, it's early, but still, much better than what UCF has brought to the table thus far. Again, allowing a lot of points and a lot of yards through the air, UCF has done thus far. Sidebar, come here. Listen closely. Colorado ranks, UCF ranks 1 in rushing offense. However, they rank 93rd in red zone offense, meaning they're running around the hash marks or getting their yardage or getting a bunch of they're chewing up yardage, but they have a hard time punching it in. Okay? Well, how does that bode for Colorado? Colorado's red zone defense ranks 23rd in the country. UCF's red zone defense, I think, ranked like 90th, maybe it was 80th or something like that. So when you look at it like that, it's like, okay, that number 1 rushing offense may not be as intimidating as it is because when it comes time to score, again, ranking 94th, 93rd out of 132. What's going on? What's happening, UCF, against a team that's done very well in the red zone, i.e. Colorado, ranking 23rd. Again, go back to that Nebraska game. You had the pick 6. You had a lot of times where that ball was turned over on the other side of the 50, right? That's the only loss so far that Colorado has dealt with. Giving the opposing team a short field has not bode well for Colorado. That goes back to the offensive play calling. That goes back to Shedeur Sanders. We've talked about being a little bit smarter with the ball, moving the ball down the football field, making kind of just decisions to throw it away, not taking a sack, putting yourself into a worse situation. So, look, this game, UCF is heavily favored given the fact that it is a minus 14 spread at UCF. This place is nicknamed aka the bounce house because it gets absolutely rowdy. It's like the old time bleachers and they just go bouncing up and down on the thing. It starts rattling, shaking. It's loud. It's an auction. It's a good time. So they're going into a hostile environment. I think, personally, I think the Big Red was probably one of the most hostile environments they'll play all season long. That one's much harder, in my opinion, to play here at UCF. It's still going to be nuts. Don't get it twisted. It's still going to be nuts. I think 14's crazy. And what's exciting to me is we're going to really find out about both these teams. We don't have enough, in my opinion, on both these teams. And right now, UCF at early on in the season was like plus 800 to win the Big 12, while Colorado's like plus 2,200. Utah is still the number 1 favorite, obviously. But UCF and Colorado, record-wise, up there in the top echelon with one win and 0 losses in the Big 12. So this is a big one. I've been saying it all season long that this Big 12 matchup is wide open for the taking for anybody, honestly. And like I said, we're going to find a lot about who these are. I think what's also going to be huge because Travis Hunter, obviously, the Heisman conversation heated up. He did not move into the favorite, but he moved into, which he should have already been, but turned a lot of heads for what he did last week against Baylor with obviously the big fumble at the end. And really, again, you watch Colorado media, they're already pumping the Heisman, as they should. I think if he plays for another team, the conversation is already there that he's leading the way. I think there's a little reserved given because there was a report that, or a graphic that showed Colorado may lose the rest of these games. And if Colorado does go 3-9, you can't. It's rare. I've never seen that happen where the Heisman of a team goes 3-9, right? Because you've got to be an impact player to elevate your team to win more games. So I think that's part of the factor. They win this game, they're sitting at 4-1. Massive change at that point for Colorado, right? And for Travis Hunter in that Heisman campaign. And Shedeur, don't sleep on Shedeur. He's throwing over 350 yards almost every damn game, just quietly. So this game it's got some weight to it. It really could set the tone for the rest of the season and the things that they've slowly been improving on and getting better at, especially the rush defense. Warren Sapp has been very adamant about that. Like that, hey, I don't know, coming here, I knew that was going to be a factor. Well, now you're going up against the best in the country. KJ Jefferson is big but goofy. He's not intimidating. Shut the run down, force him to throw the football, and don't allow him to use his legs. And I think we're going to be in for an interesting one. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. And of course, the show is brought to you by BetUS. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.